The idea of immortality, power, and knowledge intrigues humans like almost no other concept. We have countless ideas, myths, legends, and folklore on immortality and how to get it. How to be stronger, faster, and more than any other human. Some are more innocent than others. Some are warnings of folly and failure. But one seems to hold a place in our minds for various reasons. Romantic overtones, taboo intrigue, the lure of being more than you ever were before. It is the timeless, unwavering lore of vampires. Yes, today we will talk about vampires and the philosophical underpinnings we apply to them as a species. Why do they drink blood? Why do they not have reflections? Most importantly, I think, what do they have to do with Faust and his bargain? Faust, as the story goes, made a deal with the devil. He traded his soul for magical knowledge in the material world, exchanging his humanity for the potential for power and immortality here on Earth. What follows is a series of tragedies of love, murder, and loss as Faust discovers his new powers insufficient to make him happy. He didn't get what he hoped for, and was now living his life as a hollow shell of what it once was. A soulless man, no longer even human by normal standards. And although the story does end with him going to heaven, the moral of the story is pretty clear. This deal is a fool's wager. Though I don't think Faust's story is why you clicked on this video. So let's get back into it. The concept of a vampire in humanity has taken many forms. In early history, the idea of a blood-sucking monster had barely any kind of human-like shape. Creatures that would stalk humanity and feed upon their blood. It wasn't until the Strigoi of Romanian folklore we got something we recognize as vampires in pop culture today. And if you are thinking that the fact they hail from Romania tickles an idea in the back of your mind, you are right, as this is the basic concept Bram Stoker used when crafting his defining vampire, Dracula. Quite a bit of the lore around vampires that we recognize came from his story. The idea that crucifixes repel them, the idea they have no reflections, or even their kryptonite in the form of the sun came from his story, all ending up being enduring aspects of vampire lore moving forward to today. Though why these things? What about these aspects of the vampire so alluring? As well, why did so many previous aspects remain so foundational? Bram Stoker didn't add the aspect of blood-sucking to vampire lore. It remained from previous folklore and as a whole is a part of many myths and rituals of dark origin in human history. It invokes a fearful taboo, a brush with the cannibalistic fear that we seem to be fascinated with as a species. Blood, in particular, is apt in these stories, as many cultures believe blood holds a spiritual connection within the body, a power source, and an energy that defines humanity. It is why early medicine involved bleeding people, why dark spells require it as a spell material. It's the perfect material for undead needing life to sustain their false existence, feeding on the liquid essence of humanity itself. Vampires drink blood because it is the drinking and consumption of human spirit. The killing of vampires with wooden stakes is something that also came from previous lore. It is an idea around many undead, but ironically perfect for the vampire. As the idea goes, If you drive a wooden stake into a vampire's heart while they rest in their coffin, they will die. For an undead who drinks blood, destroying the heart seems poetic. But even more, as the blood consumption shows, vampires are contrary to life and in active resistance to the status quo of the universe itself. The wooden stake, then, is the concept of permanently nailing the vampire into the place where they truly belong, their deathbed. The lack of reflection trait is also intriguing. It seems to denote the idea of a vampire lacking a soul altogether. Mirrors in many cultures are thought to either show the soul of a person in the reflection, or even capable of capturing and holding souls when used correctly. The idea of vampires unable to be seen in mirrors shows an utter lack of this aspect. Vampires don't have souls. They are the bodily, fleshy shells of what this human used to be, and what we see with our own eyes is now all that is left of them, terrifying as that may be. It is also why vampires cannot stand the sunlight, or crucifixes. Soulless beings cannot stand inside the revelation of light or before divine power. Unfortunately, without a soul, you are simply a pitiful shadow of the human you once were. What does this have to do with Faust and his bargain? Well, Faust's story is of someone trading a priceless immaterial thing for material gain and paying the ultimate price. When it came time to pay up, he realized he had gotten nothing from the deal. The payment was infinitely more precious than the goods he received. When we think about everything we talked about before in regards to vampires, this fits perfectly in that description. A deal made to give up your humanity for something else, never realizing what that truly entails. Becoming a pretender in your own skin. When a human, given the choice to become a vampire, whether if it's by another vampire or a lurking cave demon making the offer, the deal is the same. Your soul for mortality, beauty, and power. It is a trade for all the things humans wish they could have, a romantic allure, strength, and longevity beyond what they ever thought possible. Every wish of any mortal person on this land. Though a useless trade if one is offered it, for if you really believe in the soul, you know it's not worth trading for material immortality when spiritual eternity possibly awaits you. Even if you don't believe and think you trade away nothing for these gains, you still know you are not left unpunished. The price of having to take life essence from the humans around you to sustain your false existence. A constant, unending, hungry reminder that you are contrary to the natural order of things. Physical and psychological abuse pressed upon you by fact of your now immortal existence. Every vampire is Faust, making the choice of limited material gain in exchange for something far greater, their humanity and their connection to a life worth living, fitting into the natural world and the potential to work towards more. Vampires are the opposite of this. They will never be more than what they are, and they must fight to not deteriorate even further. It is a tortured existence of constant work towards never falling further than you already have, and never any potential to be greater. If I ever saw a raw deal, a Faustian bargain in today's pop culture, I don't have to look much further than the vampire. In this case, when offered the deal of vampiric immortality, you absolutely would want to look the gift horse in the mouth. Thank you, listeners, for getting this far. I hope you enjoyed my video, and if you did, give it a like and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already for more dissected myths and lore like this. Speaking of which, tell me in the comments below what would you like to discuss next, and let me know if there are any other questions or intrigues about vampires that you still have. Once again, thank you, listeners.